Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. I'm kind of mid-project already, but I thought that this would be a really good video to film. So let me catch you up to speed. This is my ink swatch notebook. It was in one of my TNs, but I've taken it out to be able to take out these swatch cards here. These swatch cards are ones that I made 2 years ago and have been keeping up with them every time I get samples. This is on Midori cream paper, and it's just regular flimsy paper that I cut to size to fit in here and use a Beverly ink stamp for the ink bottle shape. But I have since been thinking about how I can update and change my ink swatch system. I've since acquired a number of bottles, and so today I finally had time to switch over to these Wearingeul cards. So my thought process is that I will use Wearingeul cards if I have a full bottle of it. I will keep the Midori paper swatches for my ink samples because I still do have a lot of these, but a lot has changed to where I need to actually go through these and see if I still have the sample vial, because I do pass forward the sample vials if I decide I'm not going to use them, or maybe I've even finished the sample vial. So it's time to kind of archive some of these samples, because sometimes I send these pages over to people if they want to take samples off of my hands, or if maybe I have a bottle of something and I can share samples. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to take all of these out. I'm going to use this card file insert, or I guess, card file insert to start holding only bottles of ink that I own. And then I'll have to go through these later. This is really the bigger project, is going through all of these and figuring out if I still have them in my ink sample collection. I'm just going to reorder this to make sure they're in color order, because I was kind of multitasking there. I have a lot of browns, a lot. And then some grays. I think these are all kind of grays and browns. Blues. Yeah, so they're a little all over the place now, but that's okay, because I really still need to go through them one by one. So this isn't even all of them. I have the first half here. This starts with red. Yeah, most of the colored ones, and then it continues here to blue, and then all the way to brown. So you can see it is a huge chunk. There's got to be over 100 of these, but I won't need every single one of these. Some of these are duplicates now that I've transferred my samples to the Wearingeul cards. So this is for later. This won't even fit in the binder clip. That's why it was in 2 parts. All right, so the main project that I want to do right now is to fill up these bottles. I do switch these around a lot, which is why in the end I knew that it would be beneficial to get a sturdier card. These are on cardstock paper. I don't know the exact name of the paper. I don't even have the info card that came with these anymore, but these are for ink bottles, and I'm gonna do it by rainbow order. I know some people like to do it by brand. Some people will do it by type of ink. I just like to keep it simple and do it in rainbow order because I like to match my inks to the pen body, and so it's a lot easier for me to know what color, shade, and tone to go by instead of by brand, for example. Not very many reds. I've got only one orange and one yellow. In terms of full bottles of inks, I do have more of those kind of shades in my sample vials. Not too many full bottles here. I think I've got about 20, and a lot of them are actually like the diamine size bottles. I think the biggest bottle I have is maybe the bigger diamine bottle of 75 mLs, but most are, I would say, 30 mLs, and then a few of the 50 ml bottles. But this is just going to be so satisfying to look at. I already put them in the rainbow order that they should be in. I only got one purple, and that was a very recent addition. And I have a lot of browns. A lot of brown bottles. Actually, this one is now archived. So I think I did reach the halfway point. Just, yeah, right here. And let's count. 3, 6, 9, 12. That's the most I can do. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. 35 inks. Let's do a quick view here. You can pause the screen if there's a color that catches your eye that you'd like to read. And I am right at golden hour, I believe, while filming. It's kind of hard to see these shades of green. I am going to lose daylight quickly here, but I'm really happy to have gotten these in now. My next big project, I don't know that I'm going to be able to fulfill during this time. With this card, I do want to keep it in here because I want to remember what the color looked like in case in the future, you know, I see the color again and I'm like, oh, what does that look like again? And instead of falling into the trap of buying it again, I know how it looks like. So now I want to move all of these, all the ones that I still have in this book. I got the cover from the Travelers Company road trip event in November in Long Beach, but I personally, after the event, switched out the inside with the pages from another spiral notebook. So that's why mine is the way it is. They did not have these sheets available at the Viking event, so in case you're jumping out of your seat like, whoa, I didn't know that was an option, it wasn't. I personally changed this, and it was really hard to respiral this, I have to say. So a lot of respect for one of the co-founders who operates and does the spiral notebook Viking event. So I'm gonna go ahead and move you over to my ink samples. So this is my, I believe, art concept drawer. I can't remember the the full name of it, but it is linked in my Amazon storefront. And I have the bottom 2 drawers here for inks. So I have the most filled up in here. This is a lot of my colored inks. And then this second drawer is most of my browns with a few kind of commonly used inks, mostly my browns and my greens, but it's not completely full yet. The bottom one is. This isn't really organized in any specific way. I wish I color coded it because it would have made going through these cards a lot easier. I do know that some of these cards are what I have bottles for, so I can take these out of this collection. So that was a bottle. Writer's Blood. See, I don't know that this is the most efficient. I think I should have left them in the card file so that as I went through each one of these, I could remove it from the card file and place into my I no longer have a sample vial of pile. So not the best system here. Yeah, I think the best way is for me to choose the vial, find the swatch card. I kind of know at the top of my head which vials I don't have a swatch for because it has been a while since I've kept up with some ink swaps and making swatches for. This one I do know I have a swatch card for. It's one of my other yellows, so we can go straight to the yellow. There it is. And the way that I'm doing this is because I have the ink, then I'm going to keep the card. This is going to get very messy very quickly, I presume. So this is 𝘐𝘯𝘀𝘀𝑜𝑡O's Yamabuki Iro right there. So I gotta put this in my keep pile. This is an empty bottle. Shinkaichi Gold, I do not remember swatching that. And then Kirisami, I did swatch. So you can kind of see all the work I'm gonna have to go through here. But I kind of know where things are. What did I say? Kirisami, which is this. Okay, so I have it. I'll keep the card. I do eventually kind of want to organize these by color. Okay, welcome back. It is the next morning, very early because I'm still jet lagged. And here I have all of the samples that I have swatches for. They're all paired up, they're matched up. Here are the cards that I don't have vials for any longer. I probably passed them along or possibly finished them. And then in here are all the vials that I don't have cards for. So I have a lot to swatch. And then up here, not very many, are inks that I'm ready to wash out, or the vials are empty, or a few I can refill with the bottles that I now have and pass those along. So a few empty vials, a few that I know I probably won't ever use, or maybe it's been transferred a few times, but that's how the project is going so far. This looks very satisfying. I actually don't want to put it away just yet. I think I have just as many swatched and paired as I have not swatched and paired. That is a lot. Maybe about 50 ink samples, and here is maybe just over 50. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I counted all my ink samples yesterday and I went up to 110, which is nuts. The last time I got to the number 100, I did a huge purge. So I think I'm going to do a huge purge again this time. It is a couple hours later, and this is the state of my desk right now. I was able to swatch as many more inks that I could with the cards that I already had made that were hiding away in my insert. And I think I got to every single ink except 2. So that's a lot of progress made. I'm okay not really swatching the black. This Midnight Blue by 𝘈𝘲𝘁, I thought I had this swatched a really long time ago. I must have done something with the card or lost the card, but that's okay. I was able to swatch the more important inks that I really wanted to have in record, readily available to share. I'm just realizing that I had more inks hiding away here. So I do have more than just the two, actually. I would have liked to have this swatched. So maybe later on I will create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 more cards. The stamp that I use for this card is called, is a bottle stamp by Beverly, and I purchased mine through Dust Gems. If I can find the link for it, I will have it linked in the description. But my next step now is to go ahead and file everything here. And the reason this is a project at the forefront of my to-do list is because I am sending ink samples to friends, and I want to be able to pass along some of the inks I no longer care to have in my collection, as well as to share some newly acquired bottles. So let's do that. I'm not sure if I shared this earlier, but I went ahead and applied an X to all of the ink swatch cards that I no longer have ink samples for. I want to keep these cards in case I ever want to reference something and remember that I once had it, and therefore remind myself of what the color was like. So I am going to keep these. I'll probably try to file them somehow at the back of this notebook, because this can hold quite a bit of cards. This is where I plan to have most of them. I'm still debating on whether having everything in one place. I think I will. Originally, at the start of this video, I thought I'd have my bottled inks here and then ink samples here, but that just sounds, I don't know, too much separation for being the same thing. It's already obvious what's a bottle and what's a sample, given the different card styles. Yeah, I think I'm gonna transfer these into here. So everything's in one place. It'll make sense. It'll look good. That way, when I do share photos to friends, then it will be easier and nicer to just have one book. I am in such a mood for bright colors. When swatching some of the inks, I already tried to make a mental note to use that ink next whenever a pen comes along. I actually did ink up 2 additional pens because of some inks that I came across making these swatch cards. So I think I have up to 10 inked pens, and I really do need to clean some of the older ones out because I am just really way too bored with those inks. Some of those older inked pens are reaching up to 6+ months now, and since I inked at least a good 5 new pens, not new reacquired pens, I just mean different pens, since I inked up 5 of them, of course I'm more excited to use those. And the older inked pens are really just going to sit there even longer. I really do enjoy the thickness of these cards. If only I could do everything swatched on these cards, but I really do like the division in bottle versus sample. I know a sample stamp vial exists. That would be really cool for it to actually display, you know, this is a bottle and then the other one was stamped as a vial. But I think I learned about that actual stamp or saw that stamp for the first time after I had already purchased the bottle stamp that I use for these. Seeing everything in rainbow order is just so satisfying. have a lot of browns. I also really appreciate the craft paper of these card files. It helps to let the cards stand out. I know that if they were white, it could blend in, and some might actually like that, but there's so many different shades of white, which is why I actually appreciate the craft paper. I will do a very slow flip through, and I'll try to get a good overhead angle of the notebook so that you can pause the screen if there's an ink that you want a better look of. I might have to do that in better lighting. It's getting towards sunset now here. Okay, now how do I create some sort of division here of where this ends? Because I don't want, I mean, I'm sure I'll have to rearrange this when new bottles are acquired and things get shipped down the rainbow, but for now I like that there's no spaces in between. But I want to leave myself a good amount of pages. I could start from the back for samples. I generally like to do rainbow order and then have brown, or is it gray? Purple going into pink, and then gray, and then brown, and then black at the very end. I need to put some of these in order still, but for the most part, they were in order, kind of. No. So since I'm going backwards, I don't have any black, but I do know I have that vial of black. Oh, this is going to affect things too, because I don't actually have every single swatch card. I still have these 8 vials or so, but I know what color family they'll be in actually. And then some of these samples I already know I'm going to pass on to friends, so this is going to be a project that gets changed right away. Like this shimmer, I'm passing all shimmers over to a friend. Oh wait, this is the ink I was looking for. The one shimmer I wanted to keep. So that actually already has a swatch card. These are purpley. So I've got 3 in the purple family. Oh, this one is a shimmer. I generally don't keep shimmers because I don't have wide enough nibs to house the shimmer. Let's see. Prussian blue. Okay, so I've got 2 purples I need to make blank spaces for, and 2 blues to make space for, and 1 black. Okay, that's helpful. So my last spot would have been that black had I had a swatch for it. So we're getting into browns. Brown, this one's a brown, beige. Then I wanted grays. Is this a gray or a blue? It's kind of hard for you to see. I got a lot of purples, blue blacks. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. These are the new ones I just swatched today. I need to file them in to this main pile. Okay. Some orange. These are greenish yellows. Pinks. I need to separate the pinks out of there. Green. I just made a discovery with my swatch cards. These look almost identical. Might be hard for you to see, but I had a vial with no label on it. Of course, I still wanted to swatch it. Sorry, I lost the word there. This one, I actually have 2 vials of. I made 2 cards of and then realized and tossed one. This one, I am organizing now by color, and it's exactly the same. So now I know what ink this is. And now that I have this comparison, it does sound familiar. I know for sure that it was a Lennon Toolbar ink, but it was just not labeled. And now that I see this, love that for me. Love that I figured out what the missing ink color was. So these are classified as like a green, but they're very gray. It's a green toned gray. This is very obviously gray. So do I put this with the gray, the grays? I think so. That's what I would think of if I were to see that ink swatch. And in my mind, if I were like, oh, I'm looking for a gray ink, I would go straight to the grays, and that would be a very nice change and twist to a gray color. Getting there, getting there. Okay, working backwards here. I've got 2 different piles that need to become one. I said I wanted gray before brown, but I think I'm gonna do black into gray. So here are all my grays. This system looks very chaotic. I hope it works out well and I'm not rearranging too often. So the darkest of the bunch, I'm going to save 1 spot for a black. And then we are going to go in now with Diamond Earl Grey. 𝘊𝘪𝘠𝘰𝘯𝘵. And then I would say Ding Dong Oolong Tea, Diamond Ink Vent Tundra. See, it's a lot harder to put these so-called cards back because they're just flimsy paper. When it comes to this rainbow of ink samples, I'm okay having the blank because I get ink samples a lot faster than I do bottles of ink. And so the rearranging happens a lot faster with samples, and it's helpful when I don't have to rearrange as often. I can just stick the color in the page that it belongs to, even if it doesn't follow in the gradient. At least it's in its colored section, you know, at least it's in the grays. And then later when I have to do a mass reorganizing, then I can do the color gradients. Grays, so I left a spot for the black. I'm on to grays. Now I'm getting into browns. I've got a lot of browns that need to be integrated. Browns have so many different shades. There's red brown, there's cool brown, there's green browns, there's purple browns, there's orange brown. So many shades of brown. I'm somewhere, at least. I'm gonna start with this being the darkest. Pilot Yamaguri. So these are kind of following the cool toned browns. So this page will be dedicated to the cooler tone. Then we get into some red browns. This one's kind of green though with the sheen. I probably should have made this the bottom, but I'll just put that there for now. Then we've got some red browns. 𝘍𝘪𝘯𝘕, Wearingeul Prestige Umber, Platinum, Brune Sepia, Wearingeul's Cowardly Lion. This was my favorite ink for a very long time. Wearingeul Cowardly Lion. I thought I was going to get a bottle of it. I had since discovered a lot of other browns. I'm going to leave a spot there for the red browns. Now we're getting into kind of orangey brown. I wouldn't say this is orange, full orange brown yet, but this definitely has its own kind of tone. So I'm going to leave one spot there, and then we get into the orange browns. This could have passed as a red brown, but when it's a lot lighter here, it definitely has some more orangey tones. This one is a full-fledged orange brown. Kind of maybe like a brick red brown, or a rust brown. So many words to describe color. Rarely do I ever feel the desire to let go of a brown sample unless I get a duplicate from a swapper. I think I'll leave that because I tend to favor orange browns, and then that way this page can be for the beige inks. Since I also like to have beige inks, I will leave that page as is. I think we're finally getting into some color. Having done brown, gray, so we will get into the purples now, or is it pink? I think pinks. Let's get into the pinks and then purples. Which I have a good amount of pink for someone who used to not like pink. All right, that's about it for pinks. Perfectly 6. I did kind of dustier colors on the side and then very vibrant colors on the left side. Ideally, I would have some empty slots here because I do like some pink inks, but at least if they need to overflow, it could go here and share this page as a transition into the beiges. Then we're going into purple. Oh wait, I have 2 more pinks here. Oh, this is difficult now. These 2 belong more together. This one can fit in there. So I guess there you go. My overflow will start more of this beigey dusty pink, although this would look really good to transition here. Decisions. So I'm cutting myself off with a beigey pink, but I mean, how often would I grab a beigey pink? Because these inks are way too light to put into pens. Unfortunately, they look really good with the dip pen because it comes out really saturated, but the minute you put this into a pen, it gets really light, even if it is in a broad nib. So purples. I guess I should have done this at the bottom to transition into pinks, but oh well. This one's giving me like blue purple, which is why I put it there. Now we're getting into the blues. These Sailor ones are very blurple-y. And then we get into the very dark blues. These are my favorite kind of dark blue inks. Colorverse Humpback Whale is one of my favorites right now. I have it inked in my 𝘬𝘵 Echo Creme. I can see the end. We're getting close, which makes me happy that so far we're so good. So far we're good with the color organization here. Leave a spot for the blues. Now getting into greens. I have a lot of greens. I feel like I'm racing against the sun setting on my window here. Given that I love greens, I'll keep those two, and this will be my transition page for yellow greens. I feel like I have a lot of yellow greenish colors. Oh, I missed. No, I didn't miss that. That was a duplicate. All right, we've just got the red, oranges, and yellow. I don't have this sample anymore. I finished this. So this is the one that slipped in there. That should have an X. Okay. I'm surprised at how many orangey kind of inks I have. I really hope I don't pick up this notebook and find like a whole bunch of inks underneath here. Ink cards. How close am I? Ooh, getting close to meeting each other. Oh my goodness. Here I thought I was gonna have so many pages in between, but I'm actually quickly approaching, and I'm missing some. Oh, I totally forgot. See, I made a mental note. I needed to leave like 2 spaces in the purples, 2 spaces in the blue blacks. Oh, didn't do it. I left 1 space. There's 1 space there, but I need 2 spaces for the blue blacks and 2 spaces in the purples. Oh well, maybe I'm just gonna, oh there. I don't know. Maybe I just might end up giving some of those colors away anyhow, and then having to take them out and Xing them out. I think we did it. And I still have sunlight to show you a full flip of this. I hope there is enough lighting for you to be able to pick up some of the color of these swatches. If there's any that you like, just go ahead and pause the screen and take note of it. But here we have my section of bottles that I own, and these are on Wearingeul swatch cards. And then getting into sample vials of what I have. This is on Midori cream paper. If there's a specific color that you'd really like to see up close, maybe you're searching up swatches online, maybe it's a color that doesn't have a lot of swatches or comparison, just send me a message and the name of the ink, and I'll be so happy to message you privately, show you a swatch of the ink in real time, as well as the card, maybe on Hobonichi paper, on Kinboard paper. Just shoot me a message or a comment here on YouTube. I'm so happy that I was able to get this done over the weekend, and it will definitely be helpful now as I try to rein in my ink collection. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.